Good morning, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a Q&A with me, but kind of day in the life vlog style. So come and take a seat with me as I answer your most frequently asked questions. We've just moved, so things are kind of still like, look at how cluttered and crazy. There's still boxes everywhere. That's me filming the before shots of a decor video. But like I said, I thought I would just film a little Q&A because people have been starting to ask me very similar questions. But first things first, I think it's time to put some makeup on because, oh my word, does a day not feel better when you have makeup on your face? Oh my gosh, I think this is actually gonna work. I'm not very good at the whole vlogging thing. Like one of the things with being a YouTuber that is like very new to me is just the technology and like how to get just stuff like this. Like I didn't think about a tripod. The tripod's with the other camera, so I'm using a table. Thank goodness this particular camera has one of those flip screens. So anyways, if anyone has any tips for me, I'm all ears. Leave them in the comments below. I'm sure there's much more convenient ways that I can do this. So one of the most frequently asked questions I have about my life, I guess, is how do you do it? Like, how do you have, I have 6 kids, ages 8 and under, and I'm pregnant with my 7th. So how do I do it? I would say that I have gotten extremely good at prioritizing. I was not good at this in the past, to the point where I let work become the most important thing in my life. I didn't think it was the most important thing in my life, but it 100% was. If you looked at the actions behind like what was in my calendar and stuff, 100%. But in my head, I was like, no, my family's most important, my faith life is most important, you know, that kind of thing. But no, actually, I basically fit in any form of spiritual life, any form of family life around the little crevices that work did not take up. And it took me a really long time and a lot of pain to realize it. But now on the other end, I'm really good at prioritizing. So basically I've created very strict boundaries for myself in terms of work. So I basically looked at my schedule and said, how many hours do I want to work? When do I want to be present to my kids? My kids are all really small, so they really need mommy. I just realized through, again, like trial and error, through a lot of deep reflection, through a lot of prayer, through a lot of surrender to God, children don't make you less successful. Success just is going to look different than you thought it could look. And it can be even more amazing, to be totally honest. Here's the long and the short of it. I did experience a success that comes with working hard, with making money, with like, you know, national acclaim, and it didn't fill me up. I was not at all fulfilled by any of it. It only lasted for such a short amount of time, and then I looked around at the reality of my children and my husband, who all were desperately missing me because I was constantly working, and it sort of hit me like that like no amount of financial or any kind of like fame or any kind of public success can make up for failure in the home. That's a quote by David O. McKay. Anyways, so this is a long way of saying I've gotten good at really knowing what my priorities are and putting all of my actions, making sure that everything, literally everything in my schedule reflects those priorities. Another question I get sometimes is the scar on my neck. What is the scar on my neck? I had, when I was 23 years old, unfortunately, thyroid cancer. Thyroid cancer, basically they found like a little, it was my general practitioner found a little tiny bump on my neck. And like basically they kept not being satisfied with all the test results. And so of course, I got back from my honeymoon in at the end of December, and then I was in surgery by April. So it was fairly rapid fire. And yeah, incredibly scary to be 23 and to have cancer. That was incredibly scary. However, everything worked out for the best. I'm now 10 years remission, and yeah, it's kind of clearly hasn't stopped us from being able to get pregnant. 7 times. So yeah, it's I'm very thankful. Another question I get asked all the time is, what kind of car do I drive that can accommodate my 6 children? So we now are the proud drivers of a Ford Transit wagon that seats 10 people, and it is glorious. I will do a full tour of my cute little, it's not little, my massive car, because we are planning a trip to Florida really soon, and so we'll be packing the car for Florida. So I will show you guys what it looks like to have a massive passenger van with 6, soon to be 7 children. This is kind of fun. I like chit-chatting with you guys. Another frequently asked question I get is, what have you done for childcare in the past and what do you do now? Okay, so this is a great question. In the past, we were young, like we had our first child at 25. I was 25, my husband was 28. And I had just started my business in interior design, and we were basically relying on my husband's church salary, which is basically non-existent, to support us both living in the expensive city that is Toronto. And so, yeah, at the time, there was just no way. There was no daycare, no options available like that for us at the time. I really when I say that I don't know, I really built my business from nothing. Like, I didn't have a whole bunch of money that was given to me or invested or anything like that. I simply worked really hard, made a lot of sacrifices to kind of figure out how to run a profitable interior design business. So anyways, at the time, there was no childcare. So I kind of basically figured out a way to do work efficiently and do a lot of things with the baby with me. And then whenever I could not bring the baby, I would enlist the help of my mom, my dad, my husband, etc., etc. And then eventually, as we had more children and both of our work started ramping up, my husband started traveling more for work and whatnot. We did get a part-time nanny, and for many years we basically were able to do our thing with part-time nannies. So what that looked like for us was maybe 2 full days a week, 3 full days a week. There was a time fairly recently where we had somebody come every day or 4 days a week actually, from 3 till 6. Sorry, I'm confused. We had her from 4 till 7, and then the kids were in bed by 7. So that's what allowed me to kind of go out and do evening appointments and whatnot, and then the kids would be in bed. So that was really strategic for us. And again, from a budget point of view, it worked really, really well for us for a long time. So a year and a half ago, my husband and I finally had to have the very difficult decision, or the conversation, very difficult conversation of, we need to figure out a more permanent childcare system. It just wasn't really working to have the part-time, because the thing was that both of us were starting to travel, and it was just getting, a bit overwhelming. And of course, we were finding that the house and whatnot, things were just starting to, disintegrate. So anyways, things were just becoming quite overwhelming, especially with as many children. One other thing I've noticed was that massive shift in when our children started going to school. I found things were actually a lot easier when I didn't have children at school. But then when you start having a time when you have to be somewhere at a really specific time, being on time for school, you have to pick them up by 3:30 and you have to be there. Certainly you can invest in before and after school programs, but I actually just found it that piece of it very overwhelming. And then I also found the piece of homework and the things you need to remember for school, packing a lunch, today is skating, today is this, today is that. Every day was a different day with my kids. And the more children, obviously, that were enrolled at school, the more things that I had to remember, whatever, this kid's show and tell is today, this kid's book report is today, this kid needs a this and that. It just got for me a little bit too much. And so I knew I needed more help if we were going to sustain the kind of work we were going to do. And we really considered it. Like, we considered me not working or me working extremely limited. We considered Josh, you know, being different in the way that he works. But we both just sort of felt called, and we involved a lot of prayer, that a full-time nanny would really help us, as well as with our mental health. Like, so my husband, and we're very open about it, struggles with anxiety and depression, and it's a daily occurrence. Like, this is not a, you know, he takes a pill and he feels better. It's a lifelong, every day. We're dealing every single day. And so just the stuff like having a clean house, it sounds funny, but like that impacts your mental health, like big time, like big time. Hey, Joseph, come here, Joe. Come sit in my video with me if you want. You want to be in my video? This is Joseph. Say hi, Joseph. Say hi in the mirror. Hi. 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 So yeah, basically having a nanny, a full-time, and she's live-in. We did a program through the government of Canada where you sponsor somebody from abroad. Having a full-time nanny has helped so much in mental health management, like big time. It allows us to go on our regular weekly date, which really impacts our mental health management. So yeah, it's just really worked out for us in the best in a lot of ways. Let's go in the living room. Come on. Okay, wow, look how much light there is in this room. Honestly, it's amazing. I can't believe it. What other questions did people have for me? Let's see here. Hi, this was a cute one. If you had one wish, what would you wish for? I was thinking about this for a really long time. So when I read this question, I was like, I could go super deep on this one and talk about how I want to change the world and whatever. Or I could go super light and just be like, oh, I want like 700 pairs of shoes or something. So how about I do both? The light version, what would I wish for? I am 100% coveting this jacket right now from Smythe's new spring collection. And I'm really trying to decide, this is a whole other video by the way, I'm really trying to decide if it's responsible of me right now to purchase a jacket that costs $695 retail. So if I could wish, Joseph, if I could wish for something totally vapid and lighthearted, I would wish for this new blazer from the spring collection. Okay, to go super deep, my deep answer, if I could wish for, I would wish that everyone knew that motherhood is something to be valued, that motherhood is a job and like an essential job. When you are a mom, you are keeping children alive and you are responsible for the formation of their morality, the formation of their character. If you have a Christian worldview, you are responsible for their souls. Like, it's a big deal. And so I wish that people would understand what a big deal it is and treat it with the importance it deserves, and understand that it's a job, and it's a job that you can be good at. It's a job that you can evaluate yourself on. It's a job that you should continually seek to improve oneself on. So there's my deep version of the answer to that question. Here's a fun question. If I could eat what is your favorite food you can eat every day? Okay, this is a whole other video too that I should probably do, because I am a recovering poutine-aholic. I could eat poutine, which is fries and cheese and gravy for anybody who doesn't know. But if you don't know, come on, it's so good. Every single day, like literally 3 times a day. If you gave me the option, I would probably have a cardiac arrest between in like a month's time. But I honestly could eat a poutine every single day. I've recently been on this kind of crazy, but not really crazy, but like a good health journey where I've been, I really don't want to get gestational diabetes this time. So I've basically just changed my diet already so that I don't develop it. Okay, I think we need to move locations because Joseph is playing cinematographer. Okay, I think we have time for one more. How do I give my children each enough attention? I would say there's a couple things that I do. Number one is my school age kids, I've actually started a new thing in my schedule where I'm gonna take every one of them, like one per week, out for lunch in the daytime. My schedule allows it that I can prioritize this ahead of other things, and so I'm going to simply make it a priority. So that's one of the ways. We have to make intentional effort to make sure that each child is having, like, you know, specific attention to specific things. I have children who are outgoing. I have children who are more quiet and introverted. I have children who are very happy to go with the flow, and then I have children who really need to know exactly what is coming, at what time, why aren't we doing what you said we were doing, mommy? It's very interesting. And so to navigate that requires like quite a bit of sensitivity. So meaning I have to be sensitive to what's going on with them, how they're feeling, and to do that does require like just empathy and, like, again, I would say sensitivity and awareness around what's going on. And so so I'm mindful of just like having conversations with each of them. I'm mindful of the way that they play with each other, and all of this informs like our plan as parents for how to make sure they get individualized attention. And sometimes it just means, like I said, I'm doing this new thing of like lunch every day. Sometimes that means that my husband will take, you know, certain kids, like the boys for example, for like a walk in our crazy backyard. Here, come look at my crazy backyard. It's so crazy. I honestly can't believe I live here. Like, let's just, I live in full-on cabin in the woods. It's so exciting. Anyways, so yeah, that's the story. If you like this video, I would love for you to give it a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And if you are interested in more Q&A style videos like this one, leave me a comment. Let me know. Do you have any other questions for me, a mom of 6, soon to be 7, who runs a business and whatever? Any questions about mental health or wellness, anything, I'm game. So let me know. Thanks so much for spending some time with me, and cheers to designing your beautiful life.